with all my hiking gear. I've got tripods. Super stoked. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is a little bit off in left field. And what I mean by that is I am outdoors. However, I'm not going camping or hiking today. I'm actually taking full advantage of this ridiculously bright sunshine to do some modifications in the van. So if you guys can notice behind me, I've got a bunch of stuff here laid out from the van. I've got the back cargo door net hanging over here, just all kinds of gear. And I've been playing around with a couple ideas in basically modifying the layout of the van, maximizing my personal space and storage. But before I massively modify the van, and I mean like totally changing the floor plan, I'm going to give something a test and we're going to see where it goes from there. If this works, then I'm going to leave it. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to have to do a drastic floor plan change before winter because the weather is not going to be cooperative once it starts raining a lot. So I'll give you guys a look at what I'm looking at right now. All right, guys, so basically looking at the back of the van, you guys will see my spare tire is currently underneath the bed. That is not going to be there. I did have a propane storage tank underneath of the van, and that has since been removed. So that spare tire is going to be going back underneath of the van, right where Boomer is. As soon as a tire hoist comes in, because the actual spare tire hoist that's underneath the van is currently not there. So that will be going back underneath of the van. All the things you see stored in here are essential items for me to have, but they're just jumbled in there. Very, very messy. As well as this little catch-all kind of cargo net here that I've got. This drapes across and hooks on like that. But even that right now is a horrific mess. And the reason why I'm doing this is because you guys will notice my bed doesn't even come to the edge of this hard platform. So what I've been doing is storing my fat bike up here, but that creates a massive problem because the bike is tall and therefore the tire is almost hitting the roof, hitting the back wall just to sit on the shelf, which is ridiculous. I don't need a shelf. You guys will also notice that I've got the blankets pulled off of the bed because I've got a ridiculously wide bed. That is a queen size, okay? I don't need that much space inside of my camper. Even if I'm in there with someone, I've got loads of room for both my body and another person's body because let's face it, if somebody else is in there with me, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of room between the two of us, if you get what I'm saying. So I am looking at cutting a huge chunk off of the bed and removing a huge chunk of this wooden shelf. Let me bring you guys inside the other door to show you some of my struggles after we have a look at this. So this fat bike needs to basically live in my van, as well as some oil, some coolant, air compressor, tools, hammock and sleeping bags and quilts. All of that stuff is essential to stay in the van. So coming over to the side door, give you guys a peek. Yes, that is another bike. This bike does not have to live in here. It can go into storage. And realistically, it probably will. It's not going to be a full-time thing that I'm going to use, much like my e-scooter that I have. I don't have the scooter in here right now. It is a total mess in here right now because I literally threw all the blankets and pillows off of the bed. I've got my backpack up there packed with all my hiking gear. I've got tripods somewhere's in there, a duffel bag. Like this place is a total mess. So if you guys remember what the floor plan looks like coming into the van, basically I've got this entire dresser area, which ends right where that plastic organizer starts. I know it's hard to see. That ends there. What I was thinking of doing is removing that entire cabinet. And I'm going to step inside here just to show you what I'm talking about. If I were to move this entire cabinet and tabletop over to that wall. So it would basically continue this all the way back to the van and still leave a massive gap back there for storage. And then essentially my bed, my head end, would be right there, and I'd be sleeping lengthwise in the van, leaving a ton of room way back there. Now that's a lot of work for me to remove the bed and basically rebuild it, remove that, get that situated way down there on that wall, which means one whole wall would all be counters. The other side would be bed, and then way back there storage. So that's going to be the long-term fix if this short-term rearranging does not work. So that is a bit of my crazy dilemma that I'm having right now. I would really, really like to have my bed running lengthwise in the van as opposed to sideways. I did not build this van build out. I actually acquired the van after it was already built. So why there's such a huge, massively wide bed, I don't know. There was only one person that had it. And like I said, the mattress doesn't even come all the way to the end, you know? So there is storage up here. Like I said, my fat bike sits up here. But realistically, it would be so much better if I could just put the fat bike down to the floor and build a cabinet up here or something else in this space. Yeah, it's just, it's all over the place. So today I'm actually going to cut the mattress, because even if I were to spin the bed and do it lengthwise, I would still have to cut the mattress down because it's too wide. So I'm not going to be at a loss there. And this wood that I'm going to cut, this plywood, I'm going to reuse. So I'm actually going to use it somewhere else in the build. So I'm not wasting any material. I'm going to be gaining a ton of trunk space. I'm hoping this modification works and I don't have to spin the bed, even though I'd really like to. I may just ride it out for now, enjoy this van, save for another one, maybe a high top, I don't know, in the next 2, 3, 4 years, and basically build that out the way I really want to build it out. But anyways, enough talk. Let's get doing some stuff. All right, guys, so climbing inside of here, there's a lot of material to remove here. Now I've already laid down on the bed and kind of mocked up where I want to cut this, and I have a dowel for a straight edge. I know we're not going real high tech here today, but this piece of aluminum is straight, so I'm going to unscrew that and use that as my scribe after I get the mattress cut. I think I'm fairly confident that removing that much material is actually going to be quite nice. Let's just cut it and find out, making sure there's nothing. I do have a solar panel underneath of my bed, but it's on the far side towards the steering wheel, so I don't think I'll cut into the case. Hopefully not, but just go with it, you know? Just wing it. Oh, van life, man, I'm telling ya. The things we do in random places is kind of funny. So I was going to do this in a Home Depot parking lot, but the Home Depot was actually really busy, and there were a lot of delivery trucks and things like that, and generally Home Depot really doesn't care, but when they've got customers and deliveries and things like that going on, they're probably not going to be too open to the idea of someone building out their van in the parking lot. So I decided to come out here in the middle of nowheres. So I've got that scribed. Basically just going to sink this blade all the way down, get this foam cut, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you how much more of this surface is actually available to cut. All right, guys, I've got some of these screws out holding this aluminum trim on here. Unfortunately, I can't remove it completely until the wood's cut, and then the wood can move up and that could slide out because it actually has a channel. But what I've got here is I've actually measured 19 inches in. And I've got to say, there is just a ton more room, even not even had cut this yet. There's going to be a lot of storage room. So I'm going to have to cut this in place. And as you guys will notice, it is bouncing because I did take a couple screws out of the wall. It being this short, about 8 inches behind where I'm going to cut it, there is a full support beam underneath of the bed. I most likely will have to add 2 or maybe 3 legs to this just to give it some more rigidity. If I don't have any issues getting this, or if I do have any issues getting this metal piece back on and screwing it into the wall, which is what the original owner had done. So this is going to go back on here. Hopefully everything will go nicely, but I basically got to get a straight line drawn here now that I can't use that, and get the jigsaw and make that cut. All right, so coming into the van, what a mess. You guys can see this is the big chunk of foam that I cut out. And down here, I've got a battery charging my battery to my jigsaw. It is still charging, but hopefully there's enough power in there that we can get this cut done. I should have charged this before knowing I was going to be doing this project. Unfortunately, I didn't think that far ahead. So let's get this plugged in and give it a go. All right, so that looks like hopefully we'll be able to get through one cut. I do have some jigsaw blades down here in this case. Grab one out, slap it on, and fingers crossed this goes okay. I'm a little bit worried about getting that bed secured back on so it's not sagging under the weight. I'm not terribly worried about it because it is so close to that center support beam underneath of the bed that I don't think it's going to cause any major issues anyways. But that's just my brain going, worrying about this and worrying about that. So get this blade popped in here, and yeah, hopefully we get this cut without any problems. Probably help if I put the blade in the right direction, yeah. Okay, almost in there. All right, we're ready to cut. All right, guys, so I've got half the bed cut. You can see that cut running along there from that hole. Now I've got to cut this way. Hopefully it won't collapse under my own weight. But yeah, so far so good. Get that hacked out of there. And like I'm telling you guys, like, that's a huge amount of room. That is a ton of storage room that has just been wasted that I'm very happy to reclaim. Just need to verify my cut is going straight. It sure doesn't look like it. Yeah, so we're off. Well, not off yet because I haven't cut it yet. But if I did keep on cutting, we definitely would have been off. Ooh, okay, let's not do that again. All right, that'll do. Oh. All right, so I've got the bed platform cut. Doing these projects in public areas, when people pull in and kind of look like, what the heck is going on? It's not something that I shy away from, but it certainly never gets old. It's hilarious, the reaction. So I was really hoping this was going to come out easily, but it doesn't want to. So I'm going to have to wrestle this out of here somehow. Oh, it's getting caught up everywhere. It's all because of that piece of metal. If that metal would come off, I'd be okay. So I've got to figure out a way to get that. Oh, there is one more screw holding it on. Let's see if this one screw will release it. Probably not, but we'll try. That off of there. Yeah, it's almost like it's glued on. There is a screw head right there that actually broke off. I bet if I were to drill that out, I'd probably release it. Oh yeah, totally. Hammer that out. Wow, that is not letting go. All right, let's go back to root strength, I guess. Oh, there we go. Maybe. Yes. All right. There's so much more room in there. Oh, super stoked. All right. That's a lot of room. So I'll bring you guys in to see just how much extra room there is now. I feel like that episode of, or that movie Step Brothers, so much more room for activities. So here you can see the partition wall that is underneath of the bed, giving it lots of support. And that is also a box built underneath the bed that I can enter through the front of the bed. There's a little door down by the feet that gives me access to that. You'll also notice that is the vent for the diesel heater. So this blows hot air into the cab area, so underneath of the bed. I'm going to be drilling holes in this plywood in this section just to allow some hot air to come up underneath of the bed. It may not be that much of an issue anymore, to be completely honest, because realistically, all of that's open now. So all that hot air will rise. So I do have a splitter on my diesel heater. This is only one pipe. The other pipe is way up in front, pushing out. So the whole living cab gets heat. But yeah, there's a ton of room in here. So I think what I might do, okay, I got to think about this for a second. All right, so just looking at this now, there is a huge amount of room. I did not expect that much room to come out of this. I'm actually very, very impressed. It's got me thinking now. I'm not going to narrow the bed anymore. That's my cutoff point where I'm at now for comfort and livability and whatnot. So my bike will fit in here on the floor, no problem. Both of my bikes will fit back here right now, guaranteed. The problem is I don't want to pedal in my back. And the way I was before, my bed was so wide that I basically put my body pillow, wherever that is, it's up front. I put my body pillow against my bike and me. Well, now it can't do that. And there is actually room to fall off of the bed towards the back. So I do need to build something. I can't build straight down to the floor because then that'll block off all that negative space underneath, which is a great area for handlebars to go into when setting the bikes in here, as well as other things like a chainsaw in there sideways that I can like pull the bike out, grab the chainsaw. One thing I do really want to do is I was really hoping I was going to be able to incorporate the Julka hot tap shower right here. So like picture a wall being built here. Maybe just on one side, I don't know. Maybe, you know what? I could build a partition wall. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So looking at this, I could build a partition wall, basically not in the center, but picture over here by the wheel well. Move this out of the way, and let's use this axe as like a stand-in wall. If I were to build a partition wall from the floor connecting to this plywood, probably like there. So picture this plywood coming up to about, I don't know, here. That way your back is up against like a wall, so you can't fall off the bed. And then this could be a shelf, and I could build in shelving here or leave it open. That would leave me a big flat panel there to install the propane shower inside, and then run the hoses outside when I want to use it. Do that on both sides, a little partition wall. That would give me a wall of not falling off the bed, essentially, while keeping all of that down there where that tape is and that pipe, all accessible right up to like right where my shoe is. So like right there on the wheel well, build that up and then build it across and then back down, leaving all that open. So that is a huge possibility. The only problem is right now, I don't have the materials here to do all of that. I mean, maybe I do. That strip of plywood that I cut out, I do have some L brackets that I could screw in there and screw the plywood up, so like a 90-degree angle. I do have hardware to do that. I'm gonna give it a shot because that piece is already cut to length. Obviously, I just cut it out of there. So if I use a strip of this to build the uprights by the wheel well, I don't think that's strong. Like that's really close to that partition. I don't think it's gonna bend and flex over body weight. And if it becomes a problem, I can always screw a 2x4 in to the wall at either end of the bed to hold the ends up. But I think that's gonna be actually pretty good. All right, guys, so I've got that metal trim placed back on top for the time being till I decide what I want to do. What's interesting is there is a lip here. So I could drill holes and hang things from here or put a cargo net on there. Whatever I want to do in the future, I'll figure it out. But right now, showing you how much room that spare tire takes up. It's just a huge amount of space, huge space waster. So that going back underneath the van is going to be monumental. Absolutely incredible. I just took a measurement. My e-bike, which is way in the back up there, actually fits back here with my fat bike. No joke. They actually both fit back there and loads of room for other things as well. So this project is absolutely much overdue. Very, very excited about this. So I do have to get the back of the van put back together, get everything cleaned up, get everything back in here, and then I'll show you guys what the inside looks like and what the outside looks like. All right, guys, so I've got the back of the van configured for the time being. All of my stuff is in there. The bike is down nice and low. I'm super stoked about this. Literally, both bikes will fit back here side by side. So very happy with that. The spare tire still needs to come out, obviously, so that'll drop all that down even lower. And then my pedals and my tire won't be protruding over the top of the rail there to the bed. This cargo net shuts. Now keep in mind, I do have a lot of things in here that need to get out of here. So it is a little bit of a mess right now until I get the final organization figured out. But this cargo net here simply comes up. Very difficult to do this with one hand, but it goes on there, something similar to that. And then I've got a duffel bag there that needs to get put back in here. Keep a couple bike tools in that little cubby that I made. And this little strap doesn't even need to be used anymore. So I've got this ratchet strap here that used to hold the bike in. realistically it doesn't need to be used anymore. Once I do get everything figured out though, I will put a ratchet, or I'll probably drill a hole in this piece of metal actually and hook onto there and then come over around the tire just to hold that back there. And then I'll keep all of the other space as removable trunk space for grabbing things like camp table or compressor or whatever I need out of there. I could just reach in, move the cargo net, grab whatever I need, and out I go. So now that we've taken a look in the back, let's go take a look at the bed area. All right, so coming in the van, things are a little bit tidier in here now that I've had time to move a few things around. So my body pillow I've got placed down at the foot end right now. When I go to sleep, that thing literally just goes on the floor or up in the driver's seat. I'm not too worried about that. My backpack is fully loaded right now for a hiking trip. That doesn't belong there either. Once I empty out the contents, those will go in the trunk, on the floor in the passenger seat, and the backpack slides in behind my driver's seat. So here I've got a white comforter that I've been using to drape over top of me to sleep right now. I do have another comforter, sheets. The bed's a mess right now, so no judging. But that's my summertime blanket. I don't actually go underneath of any of this right now. Just that white blanket goes on top of me. I've got 4 pillows up there, and you guys can see loads of room. Absolute ton of room for 1 or 2 people, and this trunk area that I'm super stoked about. So just a ton of room. Very, very happy with that upgrade. I've been meaning to do that for a very long time. I just never got around to it, and I'm actually glad I did not move the bed or rearrange this cupboard, because I actually prefer that much more. That works very, very well. All right, so now that I've got everything finished up for today, that was a huge chunk of storage that I was really, really looking forward to getting back. I do have some of this garbage down here that I've got to take and drop off somewhere because I'm not going to be needing that. I'm very pleased with the way this is looking, and I'm super stoked for that spare tire hoist to come in a day or two so I can put that tire underneath of the van and then really get the van kitted out for everything that I need. But this storage back here, I am just incredibly happy with that. That means the world to me. Just looking at it right now, like, absolute game changer. No more stuff kicking around on the floor and the back of the camper. I could just put it in the back and be happy with where it is. So that's all I got for you guys today. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next video.